The Galactic Empire was vast and proud, its power stretching across millions of stars. Its fleets were unmatched, its armies disciplined and fierce. For centuries, it ruled with an iron fist, crushing rebellions and bending new worlds to its will. The galaxy knew to fear the Empire. No one dared to challenge it openly. But then, the Empire detected something strange, something unexpected. From the outer rim, a signal flickered in the darkness, a faint, unfamiliar pattern. The signal came from a human colony, one the Empire had long ignored as insignificant. But the signal was different now. It was a call for recognition, a challenge wrapped in quiet defiance. The Empire's leaders gathered in their grand council chambers, their faces hard and unyielding. Emperor Valder's voice echoed through the hall as he declared, "These humans think they can rise and defy us. They believe their primitive worlds can stand against the might of the Empire. We will show them the cost of rebellion." The plan was swift and brutal. A massive fleet, led by General Threx, would descend upon the human colony of Novaterra. It was a show of force meant to crush any hopes of resistance. The Empire's warships blotted out the stars as they formed in perfect formation, weapons charged and ready. The galaxy watched and waited. Everyone expected the humans to fall easily, like so many others before, but the humans did not respond with fear. Instead, they prepared quietly with a calm that unsettled even the most seasoned Imperial officers. On Novaterra, human soldiers moved like shadows, their training harsh and unyielding. They were survivors of a world scarred by wars of their own, shaped by the relentless demands of survival. Their weapons were not the most advanced, but their tactics were clever and fierce. The humans did not fight like machines. They fought like predators. When the Empire's fleet attacked, it was not with the expected fanfare of overwhelming firepower. Instead, the humans struck first, silently disabling the Empire's scouting drones and sabotaging their supply lines. The Empire's fleet was caught off guard. A small human ship, almost invisible in the dark, slipped through the enemy's defenses and destroyed an entire squadron of drones with a single burst of plasma. The silence of the attack left the Empire. Stunned, General Threx watched from his command ship, rage boiling beneath his calm exterior. "How can such a small force defy us?" he demanded. His officers scrambled to respond, but their answers were slow, unsure. The humans were not like any enemy they had faced before. They adapted quickly, changing their tactics with every encounter, striking where the Empire was weakest. As the battles continued, the Empire's confidence began to waver. Their troops, used to unquestioned victories, now found themselves hunted by unseen enemies. The human fighters moved with a deadly grace, disappearing before reinforcements could arrive. The once feared Imperial warships took heavy damage. Their crews demoralized by constant ambushes and losses. Within the human command center, Commander Sarah Ellis watched the reports with steady eyes. She understood the Empire's arrogance, and she knew it was their greatest weakness. "They expect us to break," she told her team. "They don't understand that we are fighting for everything we have. They don't know what it means to survive on a world that never gives up." Her words echoed across the colony's defense lines, inspiring every soldier to push harder, fight smarter. The humans had no grand fleets or vast armies, but they had something more dangerous, a will that refused to die. Back in the Empire's War Council, whispers began to spread. Some generals spoke of retreat, others of new tactics, but fear was growing. The humans were no longer a mere nuisance. They were a threat to the very image of Imperial power. At the heart of this growing storm, the Empire realized that the humans had something they lacked, an unpredictable ferocity born of hardship. The galaxy had never seen a force like this. The Empire's challenge had turned into a nightmare, and the humans were just getting started. The Galactic Empire's pride was shaken. The easy victory they had expected over the humans of Novaterra had turned into a brutal struggle. Reports from the front lines came in one after another, each telling the same story. The humans fought like shadows in the night, striking without warning, disappearing before the Empire's forces could respond. The Empire's soldiers were trained for open battle, for marching in ranks and overwhelming enemies with sheer numbers.
Oh,
HFY died. A Sentai made a one sensual once confident and sure of victory, now faced doubt. His war council was filled with arguments. Some officers insisted on sending more troops, overwhelming the humans with firepower. Others warned that more ships meant more losses if the humans' tactics were not understood. The Empire was at a crossroads. The human fighters were not just defending, they were attacking too. Small strike teams infiltrated Imperial bases, sabotaging equipment and stealing vital data. Their commanders seemed always one step ahead, predicting moves before they happened. The Empire's vast communication networks were no match for human cyber warfare experts who hacked systems silently, spreading confusion and panic. On the ground, the battle for Novaterra's wild forests was brutal. The humans knew the land intimately. They set traps in dense foliage, used natural camouflage, and struck from hidden positions. Imperial troops found themselves hunted like prey, their superior numbers useless against an enemy who vanished without a trace. One Imperial captain, Darren Volk, barely escaped an ambush that wiped out half his unit. As he staggered back to base, wounded and exhausted, he muttered to himself, "These humans, they're not soldiers, they're ghosts." Meanwhile, in the Human Command Center, Commander Sarah Ellis prepared her team for the next strike. Her voice was calm but fierce. "They think their power will crush us. They don't see that we are born from hardship. We fight not just for survival, but to protect our homes, our families, our future." Her words spread through the ranks, a steady fire burning in the hearts of every human soldier. They knew this was more than a battle. It was a test of will, a fight for existence. The Empire, meanwhile, grew desperate. They unleashed new weapons, experimental technologies designed to root out and destroy the elusive human fighters. Warships dropped from orbit, bombarding forests with energy blasts meant to scorch the land. Yet the humans adapted. They moved faster, smarter, slipping through the devastation to strike where it hurt most. In a daring operation, human commandos infiltrated the Empire's main supply depot and destroyed critical fuel reserves. The loss crippled Imperial mobility and forced General Threx to reconsider his strategy as the battle raged. Stories spread across the galaxy of a small human ship slipping past fleets undetected, soldiers who refused to surrender even when outnumbered 10-1 of an enemy that refused to die. The Galactic Empire was no longer an unstoppable force. It was a growing joke whispered among starports and smugglers, mocked in secret messages and pirate broadcasts. But the humans knew this was only the beginning. Their strength was not in numbers or technology, but in the fire that burned within. And they would not stop until the Empire learned to fear the name of humanity. The Galactic Empire was desperate to understand the humans. How could a species they considered primitive and weak cause such chaos? Intelligence teams worked day and night, intercepting transmissions and analyzing captured tech. What they discovered shook them to their core. The humans' strength wasn't just their weapons or numbers. It was something far more dangerous: their adaptability and relentless spirit. Deep inside a hidden research facility, Empire scientists studied human soldiers captured during skirmishes. They found bodies hardened by harsh environments, muscles tougher than expected, and minds trained to think beyond standard tactics. Humans were not just fighters, they were survivors, molded by centuries of struggle on a planet that tested every breath, but that was not all. The Empire intercepted encrypted communications revealing secret training camps where humans pushed themselves beyond limits no other species dared to cross. They trained to endure pain, to move silently, to strike swiftly, and above all, to never surrender. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, human commandos executed covert operations with surgical precision. A small team, led by Captain Marcus Vale, infiltrated an Empire forward base, disguised under a moon's shadow. Without firing a single shot, they sabotaged the enemy's communications and left before anyone realized what had happened. The Empire's commanders grew frantic. How could such small teams cause so much damage? They deployed new surveillance drones, equipped with the latest sensors and AI, yet the humans found ways to jam signals and hack into drone networks, turning enemy technology against them. The human secret weapon was not a machine or a powerful gun, it was their mind. They thought differently, fought differently, and survived differently. General Threx, once arrogant and unshakable, now feared what the humans represented. They are not just a rebellion, he confessed in a closed war council.
They are
a force of nature we cannot contain. At the same time, human leaders knew the truth. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but they had something else: the will to fight when all odds were against them. Commander Sarah Ellis addressed her troops before a critical mission. We may be small, but we are fierce. The Empire fears us because we refuse to be broken. Tonight we show them that humanity will not bow. So the humans prepared for another daring strike. The galaxy watched. The mighty Galactic Empire was no longer untouchable. A new power had risen, born of struggle and fire force that would rewrite the stars. The Galactic Empire was shaken, but not defeated. In response to the humans' cunning strikes and relentless attacks, the Empire unleashed new weapons and massive fleets, determined to crush this unexpected rebellion once and for all. Entire star systems watched as Imperial warships blazed across the void, firing devastating plasma beams and launching squadrons of battle mechs designed to crush human resistance. But the humans did not panic. Instead, they adapted quickly, using the very terrain of their homeworlds and their intimate knowledge of guerrilla warfare to turn the tide again and again. Forests, deserts, and ruined cities became deadly traps. Imperial forces found themselves ambushed in narrow canyons and blasted from unseen positions. General Threx commanded a massive fleet to bombard a human stronghold believed to be their main base. The Empire expected a quick victory, a show of overwhelming force that would break human morale. But when the smoke cleared, the base was still standing, and human forces had vanished without a trace. The humans fought, not like a traditional army, but like a living weapon patient. Silent and deadly. They moved like shadows, striking the Empire's weakest points and disappearing before reinforcements could arrive. The Galactic Empire, once the most powerful force in the galaxy, found itself on the defensive. Meanwhile, whispers and rumors spread throughout the Empire's ranks. Soldiers began to question their leaders. Many feared the humans' growing reputation. The once unified Empire grew divided, as commanders argued over the best way to fight a foe that seemed to anticipate every move, in a desperate attempt to regain control. The Empire unleashed experimental weapons, massive ion cannons, and genetically engineered soldiers designed to match human endurance. Yet none of these innovations worked. The humans adapted to every challenge thrown their way, using the new weapons against the Empire itself. On the human side, morale soared. Commander Sarah Ellis rallied her troops with unwavering confidence. They think they can crush us with machines and fear, but we are the storm they never saw coming. We fight not just for ourselves, but for every world they thought they could rule without challenge. The battles raged across multiple fronts, turning entire star systems into battlefields. The once mighty Galactic Empire was faltering. Their pride was cracking, their fleets bleeding losses, their leaders desperate and divided. The galaxy watched in disbelief. The Empire, the symbol of order and power, was becoming the subject of ridicule. Humans, the once dismissed species, were rewriting history with each victorious strike, and the real question loomed. How long could the Empire survive this unstoppable force? The Galactic Empire's grip on the galaxy was slipping fast. Defeats on battlefields and the humans' relentless tactics had shaken its core. But what truly broke the Empire's pride was how its own people began to mock it. Whispers turned into jokes, jokes turned into secret broadcasts, and soon, the once-feared Empire was a laughingstock among starports and space stations in hidden corners of the galaxy. Smugglers and rebels shared tales of the Empire's humiliation. Fleets wiped out by smaller human forces, generals forced to retreat in disgrace, and the stubborn humans who refused to surrender no matter the odds. Human's name became a symbol not of fear, but of unstoppable determination and surprising strength. Inside the Empire's Grand Council, tensions boiled over. Some leaders demanded sending the entire Imperial fleet to crush humanity once and for all, calling it an extermination campaign. Others argued that such a war would destroy what remained of the Empire's resources and might spark rebellions. Across other star systems, General Threx was torn. His pride screamed for vengeance, but his mind feared the consequences. "We face not just an enemy," he told the Council, "but a force that exposes our weaknesses. We cannot fight this war." With old tactics, the Council grew divided, their disagreements echoing the cracks in the Empire's foundation. Meanwhile, human propaganda spread like wildfire. Using intercepted Imperial channels, they broadcast messages mocking the Empire's arrogance and failures. These broadcasts inspired oppressed worlds, stirring hope and resistance against Imperial rule. The humans were no longer just fighters, they were symbols of rebellion, of hope. And that made the Empire's defeat even more painful. As tensions reached a boiling point, the Empire prepared for its deadliest assault yet, a final attempt to crush humanity's spirit with overwhelming force. But even as fleets gathered and weapons charged, doubt lingered among Imperial ranks. Could they truly end the unstoppable? Or was the Empire's fall now inevitable? The galaxy waited, watching as two destinies collided, one built on centuries of power, the other forged in the fires of survival. The Galactic Empire was unraveling faster than anyone expected. The humans had not only fought back, they had inspired a wave of rebellion across star systems long oppressed by Imperial rule. Smaller worlds and forgotten colonies began rising up, joining forces with humanity's fierce determination to topple the Empire's iron grip. In the shadows, alliances formed between human commanders and rebel leaders. Together they planned daring raids against Imperial outposts and supply lines. The Empire's once mighty fleets found themselves stretched thin, battling enemies on multiple fronts, both in space and on the ground. One night, under a veil of darkness, human-led forces launched a bold attack on the Empire's capital planet, Cythera Prime. Using stolen codes and inside information, they infiltrated key defense stations and sabotaged critical infrastructure. Explosions rocked the city as the Empire scrambled to respond. General Threx watched helplessly as the Empire's power slipped through his fingers. The rebellion was no longer a distant threat. It was at the very heart of their domain. The soldiers, who once revered the Empire, now questioned their loyalty. Whispers of defeat spreading like wildfire. Commander Sarah Ellis stood among the insurgents, her eyes burning with resolve. "This is more than war," she told her troops. "It is justice. It is freedom. We fight for every voice silenced by the Empire's tyranny." The Empire's fall seemed inevitable, but it was far from over. With its back against the wall, the Empire prepared for a final, desperate stand. Massive fleets gathered. Weapons of unimaginable power were readied for the battle to end all battles. The galaxy held its breath. Would the Empire's last gasp crush the rebellion? Or would humanity's rise mark the dawn of a new era? The final battle was looming, a clash that would decide the fate of the galaxy. The Galactic Empire marshaled every ship, every weapon, every soldier it had left. Fleet after fleet gathered, a massive storm of metal and fire ready to crush the human rebellion and all who dared stand with them. The air was thick with tension as the Empire prepared for its last desperate gamble. On the other side, humans and their allies steeled themselves. They had suffered losses, but their spirit was unbroken. Commander Sarah Ellis moved among her troops, her voice steady and strong. Today we fight not just for ourselves, but for every world the Empire tried to silence. We fight for freedom, for hope, for the future. The battle erupted with a fury unseen before. Starships darted through the void, exchanging deadly blasts of energy. Planetary defenses flared to life, shaking the heavens with thunderous explosions. The Empire fought with ruthless precision, but the humans moved with unyielding courage and cunning tactics honed through years of survival. In the thick of battle, General Threx led a squadron into the heart of the rebellion's defenses. His flagship was targeted repeatedly, but held firm. Yet even he could not deny the fierce resistance, the unexpected tactics, and the will to win burning in the eyes of the human fighters. Captain Marcus Vale led a daring strike team that breached the Empire's command center on the ground. Amid chaos and destruction, they planted explosives that would cripple the Empire's ability to coordinate its fleets. As the battle raged, the tide began to turn. Imperial forces faltered under relentless attacks. Ships once thought invincible were destroyed. Soldiers lost hope as their commanders fell or retreated. The Galactic Empire's last stand was crumbling. When the dust settled, the stars were silent. The rebellion had won, but the cost was immense. The Empire's reign, built over centuries, was broken. The galaxy had changed forever. The dust from the final battle still hung in the air when a new dawn rose over the galaxy. The Galactic Empire, once a symbol of unstoppable power, lay shattered, its fleets destroyed, its leaders scattered, and its control vanished like smoke. The rebellion, led by humanity and their allies, had rewritten history. On the bridge of the flagship Dawnstar, Commander Sarah Ellis looked out at the stars. The victories were hard-earned, paid for in the lives of countless brave souls. But the battle was won, when with it came the chance for something new, a chance to build a galaxy free from tyranny. Worlds once oppressed now spoke of hope, alliances, formed not from fear, but from trust and a shared vision of peace. The humans, fierce and unyielding, emerged not as conquerors, but as guardians of this fragile new order. They knew that peace would be difficult to hold, that old wounds ran deep. But their resolve was clear. In the halls of the new Galactic Council, representatives from countless worlds gathered. The memory of the Empire's cruelty was fresh, but so was the memory of humanity's courage. They vowed to create a future where no species would live in fear of another, where strength was tempered by wisdom and power was shared, not seized. Yet even in victory, Sarah's gaze remained sharp. "We must never forget," she told the Council, "underestimate humanity, and the galaxy will become a joke once again. Our fight is just beginning." The galaxy listened. A new era had begun, shaped by the fires of war and the unbreakable spirit of those who dared to stand against the greatest empire ever known. Earth and its people had risen from the shadows. The Galactic Empire was no more, and nothing would ever be the same again.